Faith Dialogue, a public affairs program at the crossroads of religion and life, a series highlighting the cultural and social interaction between the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTVC. Join us now in Austin Faith Dialogue.
A few blocks from the state capitol, surrounded by busy city streets, is a recurring little island of beauty and tranquility. At noon every Thursday, Central Presbyterian Church presents a free concert with an inexpensive light meal. The church recently celebrated the 10th anniversary of these noonday concerts. This program, Austin Faith Dialogue, is a forum for this kind of interaction between the religious and the larger community. Hello, I'm Barbara Holmes on the staff of St. John's United Methodist Church, welcoming you to Austin Faith Dialogue on behalf of Austin Metropolitan Ministries. Now, let's hear more about these noonday concerts, the 10th anniversary, and meet our guests for today. I'd like you to meet Betty Phillips, the concert manager at Central Presbyterian, and we're so happy to have you, Betty.
Thank you.
Javier Chaparro is a violinist, a musician. He has a lot of musical involvements, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is just going to be a real exciting program because we're going to have a little concert duplicated, but we want to know more about these concerts, but would like to know a little about you too. Betty, I know that both of you eat, sleep, breathe music. Tell a little about your involvement. This is a responsibility with Central Presbyterian Church.
Yes, I'm on their staff, specifically with the responsibility of coordinating the Noonday Concert Series, as it has been called over the years. I contact the guests and ask them to perform and make the arrangements for them to come, whatever they need in order to feel comfortable, and then do some publicity, whatever publicity we can. We do a monthly schedule which is mailed out quarterly to an extensive mailing list which generates publicity in the paper and on stations such as KUT and KMFA in their announcements of community affairs, musical affairs in particular, and that's what I do.
And in the rest of your life, is there heavy music involvement?
Well, yes, I'm a singer, and I'm also on the staff of Triumphant Love Lutheran Church. I'm the director of music there, and I'm a private teacher.
I knew it. Live, eat, breathe, sleep, music.
Right.
But I imagine all of that fits together real nicely.
It does.
Kind of supplements and plays off of each other.
It does.
And Javier, you're a performing musician.
That's
I
right.
can't help but wonder, did this all begin with violin lessons as a child?
Yes, everything. Well, basically, I come from I'm the fourth generation of musicians. All my family plays music. And my mother was a pianist, and my father French horn player. I have two brothers that they play violin, uncles, cousins, everybody was in music. So since I was born, basically I had music at home, either rehearsals, performance, or whatever. I get together with the family and I start to listen and enjoy the music, growing with the music.
Well, we're just delighted that you could be with us, and we're going to say a little more about that colorful costume that you have on later, but it does seem like when you're involved in music, it is just almost all-consuming. The occasion for the subject of the Noonday Concert Series is the 10th anniversary, and before we talk about that, Betty, tell us a little about the background. What is some history? How did they get started?
Well, about 10 years ago, a woman named Eleanor Page was the organist on the staff of Central Presbyterian Church. And Eleanor had spent some time living in New York, and while she was there, she noticed that in New York City, on any given afternoon at lunchtime, you could go to any one of a number of churches. You had a selection, actually, of wonderful concerts in the big downtown churches and in the museums and in the libraries. And she felt that this sort of thing was needed in downtown Austin, and she came home and sold the church on the idea, and she began the first concerts in Holy Week 10 years ago this spring. And so while this is not the actual chronological date of the first concert, we have selected the Holy Week time frame, April 12th, to be our anniversary date for this year.
Well, I want to ask about some of the plans for that, but do I understand, Javier, that you have performed at the concert series?
That's correct. I have performed several times in the last few years in the concert series. And as a performer, I feel when I go play there, like I'm playing in my own living room, it's so homey feeling for the performer. And the people are wonderful. We have a great audience, and I see all the time that I come and play again, I see familiar faces. And that's good to know, in particular in the city. It's real needed to have this kind of concert series. Is really important. I'm really glad that it's happening.
Well, that imported idea, perhaps it would not have happened quite as soon, but it does seem as if that's a very humanizing touch in the midst of all of the hurry and scurry downtown, to be able to retreat like that and hear some beautiful music. And so I was wondering about some of the people that come and listen. Who are your audiences?
Oh, it's a very varied audience. The series was originally designed as a sort of a respite for the person who is working or shopping downtown, but over the years the audience has grown. There's a core of people, some of them church members, who come to help prepare the meal that we offer after the concert has finished each Thursday.
And let me interrupt. What is the length of the concert? About 20, 30?
25 minutes. We start at 12:05 and we end at 12:30, and that's so that people who cannot leave until 12 will be able to come, and then we serve the lunch afterwards, and they can have time for lunch and be back in their offices by 1. But besides the office workers and the shoppers, office workers from the Capitol and the other big downtown buildings, we draw people from a surprisingly wide area around Austin. We have people who regularly drive down from Georgetown. We have one man who comes in from 183 and 290 every day. We have people who come from Lockhart and Pflugerville and Elgin, and I'm just amazed that at the regularity with which some of these people come. We now have several interesting groups that come. The school children from some of the private schools come in groups, particularly the children of St. Mary's, which of course is right around the corner, St. Mary's Catholic School, and they walk over, and they're wonderful. They are so well behaved, and they're just such a marvelous audience. The performers love it when the children are there. And we have several other schools that bring groups, and then we have one of the things that I did when I became the concert manager was to send a mailing out to all of the senior citizens facilities in the area, the nursing homes, the activity centers, the retirement communities, and invite them to bring groups of senior citizens down. It's a wonderful opportunity for the senior citizens because it's only 25 minutes. We serve lunch afterwards. And it's accessible by wheelchair. And so we have several groups of senior citizens that come intermittently.
Well, the type of music that is offered, of course, I guess Austin is a wonderful community for, you can find just about anything, I'm sure. But for instance, Javier, when you have performed there, what are some of the styles of music? Classical or lighter, or how would you describe the last concert you did?
Well, I had been playing, I had played classical, I played with ensembles like string quartets, piano trios, or violin and piano literature. I will call classical, baroque, classical, contemporary, some of the music too, light classical, Chrysler music, and all those pieces that they are unforgettable. And also I'm planning to perform with a group that I'm bringing today, this called the Gypsies. And we're going to be performing on June, and I believe it's June 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, when we were visiting, as we were preparing for the show, are you not on the verge of taking an international tour?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be going to Europe, to Germany and France. I'm going to be playing a series of concerts with the pianist Felicity Coltman is an excellent pianist. Also, she's involved, and we play together a lot. She's involved on chamber music, and she has the Austin Chamber Music Center. So she's real active, also playing here with the Center Presbyterian. And we are going to go to several cities. I believe it's about 7 different cities in Germany. And we go to Lyon, France, and Paris. Also, we were invited to an international music festival in Paris.
Well, that is one of the wonderful things, the caliber of musicians that is available. Betty, talk a little bit about the resources that you draw on for the concerts.
Well, of course, one of the facilities that makes it possible, one of the resources that makes it possible for us to have this is the University of Texas with their excellent faculty and their excellent graduate students, many of whom have played on the series. In fact, for several years, that was the main source of performers for the concert series. On this April 12th concert, we hope to have with us Darlene Wiley, who, besides being a member of Central Presbyterian Church, of which we're very proud, is on the faculty of the university. And this cooperation between the university and their resources has helped the Noonday Concert Series, as it has almost every musical endeavor in this town. Austin would not be what it is without the influence and the input of the artists from the university. But in addition to that, the series has now been established long enough that we have requests from artists who are coming through town to perform. We've had artists from France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland,
These
Norway.
are performing artists
Performing
who are
artists.
in Austin.
And they're here either as part of a tour on their way someplace else, visiting friends or relatives here in town, and they've heard about the series, or their local Austin contacts have heard about it, and they asked if they can do a concert while they're in town, and if I can fit them into the schedule, I say sure. So that's been a really surprising thing that has happened just in the last few years.
Well, that's a real treat. And what Javier was saying a while ago about a smaller group like that, where it's not a large, huge symphony, but the children that are there or the older citizens can perhaps visit, I suppose, during lunch with the musicians. And that is a very complimentary kind of thing. It enhances the music. But I would see some benefits for performers, too. Javier, I suppose sometimes contacts and other come out of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get contacts, excuse me, through meeting people. After the concert, we usually have meal, and we get to meet all those friends that come and see us. And we get to talk, and some of them, they're business people, so they have a Christmas party, and occasionally we get to perform.
Well, you are going to have a splendid repertoire after your travels. I am really very impressed, and I want you to tell me now about this, the garment you're wearing. This is an ethnic...
Yes, with this particular group we play a lot of European music, and this vest is from Hungary. The vest and the shirts are from Hungary. And we play a lot of gypsy music, Hungarian, Romanian, Israeli music, as well as light classical music. The accordion player in this group also teaches at the university. He teaches music theory, and he also is an excellent pianist. I have given recitals with him as well. And the other member also is a fine professional musician, a bass player.
Well, go ahead and tell us, one of the real treats for today's program is that we have one of Javier's groups here with us. We're going to hear a little concert like we were having lunch at perhaps the church. And so tell us what, you're going to join the musicians, and tell us their names and what you're fixing to play.
All right. The name, myself, of course, Javier Chaparro. I play the violin, and then we have John Novak at the accordion, and we have Steven Gerard playing the Mexican bass, the string bass. It's a unique type of looking instrument. It's a big fat guitar, And today is a gypsy bass. That's what I said.
Well, we're very anxious to hear.
And the pieces that we're going to be playing, we will play Liebesfreude from Fritz Kreisler, and we will play Rondinella. There's a Mexican composer that writes on the gypsy style, and it's called Rondinella, means spinning top.
Spinning top.
Spinning top.
Well, we're looking forward very much to hearing that.
Great, thanks.
Betty, although you have those resources to pull from and people coming through town and I suppose students and a lot of resources, it seems to me every week of the year would come by mighty quickly. Does the church try to provide this every week?
Yes, we do. We have for several years. It began strictly as a Lenten week during Holy Week series, but we now go year-round, except Thanksgiving Day, of course, which is always on Thursday. We do take a 3-week break over the Christmas holidays. But other than that, unless there's a major holiday on the 4th of July, like the 4th of July falls on a Thursday or something like that where the offices would be closed, or unless there's a catastrophic weather situation, we'll be there. And we will have, and the repertoire will range anywhere from a medieval music to sacred music to classical music in the usual, classical chamber music in the usual sense of the word, or lighter groups such as the Gypsies. One year we had the jazz ensemble from the Texas School for the Blind. We'll have young people, high school groups when they're available in the summer. Just the widest variety you can imagine.
Well, it sounds like it's a marvelous showcase for the performers also, simply because maybe there's not huge crowds. The facility is within the church building there, but it seems to me it'd be such a positive experience, and so I'm sure that it's mutually beneficial. So let's hear now a little bit of what we would hear if we were having a noonday concert at Central Presbyterian.
All right.
Fine. What fine musicians. Doesn't that just make you want to get up and dance? That's a wonderful sample, and I'm sure I would want to emphasize there's a whole range of music. I think in the opening film there was a harp that was shown that was at one of the concerts.
Yes, we had Jane Durbin and Whit Dudley this afternoon, and they are both members of the Austin Symphony, which of course is another source of wonderful performers for us. As is Javier, a member of the Austin Symphony. He doesn't always play gypsy music. So there is a real nice variety.
Well, I'd like to kind of wind up by focusing on the tremendous ministry that that the church is offering to the community. This is just a tiny little sample of the beauty that's available, and to have that right in the middle of downtown where we here have government, commerce, accidents, all things happening out on the street, and to know that people can just walk in off the street any noonday and have this little island of tranquility. Is the church planning to continue?
I think their commitment to this series is pretty strong. The audiences have grown to the point where we now are averaging over 100 people. Usually it's somewhere between 100 and 150. And in fact, I think we're going to be able to buy a new grand piano for the sanctuary. We're working on it. We hope to have it in place by the 10th anniversary concert. That will, of course, broaden tremendously what we can offer, because our piano right now is really not adequate for example, Brahms or the late Romantic, where you really want a good, rich piano. And we're,
a musician talking, yeah.
And so we're working on trying to get a really fine grand piano to go in there. And if we can do that, then they're going to be, I think, stuck with the series.
Super. Oh, well, we congratulate Central Presbyterian on this hallmark in their life of this anniversary, and express appreciation to both you and Javier for being guests today. It's been an unusually fine show. We appreciate it. We're going to conclude by hearing more music from our musicians. So thank you very much, and good day from Austin Faith Dialogue.